Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crank and with that metal station. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Joey Arena. Some of you may know him from Outlier, but he's recently got a Synthwave project going with JD from Ice Nine Kills, man. Cheers for joining me for a chat.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolute pleasure, man. So first off, dude, I want to ask how the hell did this Synthwave project get going? Because I caught your work with Outlier through Shauna. Have been sending me some stuff that you'd done with Outlier, and I kind of started following you, I think, a couple of years ago, the Outlier group. But I'm really keen to know how this started.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to do this for about 3 years now. And then, of course, COVID, and it gave me a lot of time to think and all the downtime. And 2020 was supposed to be crazy busy for Outlier and a million other bands, but I'm like, you know what, I'm going to use this time now to finally begin this project that I've wanted to do for a long time, and to kind of start digging our feet into it. Me and JD, because he's my producer for Outlier, for those that don't know.
Okay.
I took this project to him too because we're both fans of the Synthwave thing. So we love everything 80s. It's just, we love all that cheesier the better, man. Throw some extra cheese on it, whatever. And we were like, all right, so let's start it off. How do we want to, get into like creating the creative process? So I was like, let's do a cover of Van Halen. And he goes, all right, what song are you thinking? Now, Dreams is his favorite song. Dreams is my favorite song. We were already there. He just wanted to hear me say it. So I was like, let's do Dreams. And so he's like, awesome, let's do it. So we kind of just started diving into the writing process, and we just found our flow. And since then, we've created originals, and we've sat on the cover up until last Friday. But yeah, that's kind of how this has evolved, really.
Yeah, well, I'm a child of the 80s. You hear those big synthwave rock, the big riffs and everything. Kind of brings back when I heard that Dreams. It did bring back, I'm like, fuck, I know this song now. It hit me straight away. And that's the thing with music, when you hear things like that, it does bring back memories of, like I was reading in the press release saying how it brought back these memories of when you were a kid of the 80s when you first heard that track, and you're like, oh, and then you caught it again with that Power Rangers, I think at the end of the movie there or something. You're saying, I caught that, and I'm like, dude.
It was that definitely the ending of the Power Rangers movie for me, just for my age and my generation. I was like, damn, that's that freaking song. And of course it makes the ending so much better. Everybody, Ivan Ooze is dead and everybody's celebrating, so you got the big power song at the end of it. I'm like, that's the best song ever. So yeah, when I first heard it, it was in the late 80s. I was also very young though. I was born in 86, so I only had like 4 years, I guess, to enjoy whatever 80s I could. And then I heard it on the radio. But at that time, I was too young to know the difference between David Lee Roth Van Halen and Sammy Hagar Van Halen. So hearing the voice it threw me off, actually. Yeah. So Dreams was my first Halen song that I heard, not knowing it was Halen. I thought it was Sammy Hagar. So I started I'm like, oh, that's Sammy Hagar. So I just kept looking at his disc. I just didn't even think of it. And then, of course, I'm like a little bit older. I'm like 9 years old, finally starting to grow a brain here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's Van Halen. That's okay. That's that song. And
well, when you're younger, you don't think of, oh, yeah, that's so-and-so from the band. You just hear the music over the radio or your parents playing it, and you go, oh, yeah, that's cool. And you probably hardly even register to a name as well at that time. It's not until you start getting a little bit older, as you're saying, those musical sense, and you're, oh, wait, there's the vocal differences, and that's who that vocalist is in that one as well.
Well, and kids today are spoiled. You can literally go to Google and Wikipedia and find out anything. At that time, we didn't have that, so it's like there's no Google, there's no internet, nothing. I'm too young to dial the radio station and go, yeah, what song is that? So
yeah, and that's why you get your tape cassettes. And when we were younger, when we get our tapes back then, not even CDs, and you'd pull out the in-sleeve of it and read the whole, oh, that's who that is, and that's, and then read to who's there thanking even in the band credits, and you go, okay, that was our Google back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I miss those days.
Yeah, I know. So what was it like when Sammy Hagar kind of got that little fucking nod of approval for him as well on that cover?
Oh, dude, it was insane, man. We did not expect to receive anything from him. And when we heard from his management that he loved the track, we were completely like, oh my God, he wrapped his ears around it. That was cool enough. And then we got a written quote shortly after. They wanted to kind of, so their first thing was, can you tell us a little bit more about the Arena project? And, you know, so my publicist and management sent over like pretty much all of my credentials of like my whole entire musical career and any successes that I've had throughout my life. And next thing I know, we're receiving this like paragraph, this lengthy size quote from him, and it was incredible. Like the detail that he went into it, you could just tell like he really had heard the song. It wasn't like, oh, it was great, you know, keep going, you know, good job, that's it. It was this lengthy response. It was incredible. And then they wanted to see the press release before everything went out. It's like his team wanted to approve it almost, like, and we wanted them involved anyways, because obviously when we had found out, you know, we wanted to out, and they saw it, and then we got that video response, and it was unbelievable, man. I started, I got the phone call from Shauna. She was like almost in tears. She goes, you got to watch I just sent it to you. And I started like cracking up out of like joy, like, and I missed half of the freaking video. So I started laughing too. I was like getting up off the couch, running around, and here it is. It's like 11 o'clock at night, my time. So I'm just cracking up, and I'm like, holy shit, I got to go back and watch this and actually hear what he said this time. I just saw his face and I lost it. And when he said he was behind me and all that stuff, man, it's like, dude, like, I've been saying it. I feel like a broken record telling people, but there's no words, man. There's just no words that can just explain the excitement, the gratitude. And you know, he's honestly the most humble musician that I have met to date. He's just a great person, honestly.
And the thing is, with someone like Sammy Hagar, you being a vocalist for a number of years as well, and then Sammy Hagar, you know, vocalist, your instrument is your vocals as well. To have someone like Sammy Hagar actually give you a great feedback as well, and you know, and you can hear he's listened to those songs and the way he said, you know, I love how you start off and you build up, and then you got, you know what I mean? And it was a really, you could see that he'd listened to it, and as a vocalist, he'd given you a response as well, which was really cool, man, for something for you as well, I suppose.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's funny because it's still to this moment, man. I don't know why. It's like, it's so surreal that sometimes I feel like he didn't even speak to me. He spoke about the song.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of keep reminding myself of that. But because I'm like, you know, I don't get really like starstruck, but I fanboyed for him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, that's Sammy Hagar, legendary Sammy Hagar. And to me, he's my favorite vocalist, you know, especially from the 80s era. Sammy's got a range like no other. He's so good live. He's just an amazing vocalist, and him giving me props, it's so funny because guitar is my forte. I definitely have confidence in my guitar playing. I'm like, yeah, I can hold it down.
Yeah.
Vocals, it's like, you know, I'm like, nah, you know, I'm just kind of like, but like when he said that, it's like, okay, maybe I'm not that bad.
Well, it must have been also a cathartic experience making this project as well, because you've done some various metal projects, the most recent being Outlier as that as well, but to really stretch that vocal instrument out as well would have been a great process as well, doing something totally different, taking 2020 to go, look, okay, and things are fucked at the moment, but I'm going to turn this into a positive and do something that's really cathartic and something that I've wanted to do for a while, and really stretch out the vocals, do those big synthwave riffs, and just have that big sound. That process would have been a great experience as well.
You're absolutely right. And it's singing is a different process for Arena versus Outlier. It's like night and day as far as like the technique and everything I do and my go-to. There's a lot of runs and interval. You're smoother, like your tone, your enunciation, and like everything down to the details of what it is to be a vocalist. It's so different for me, but I love a challenge, and I love throwing myself into something and learning as I go. And you know that, but I mean, I'm going back. I have to track Outlier this week, and then I'm tracking more Arena the following week. And I swear to God, it's like Jekyll and Hyde personalities. Like when I go into the studio for Outlier, it's like, you know, I start sweating and taking off layers in the studio because I'm like yelling and throwing my hands and getting animated. And then like Arena's like, oh yeah, girl, I love you, girl, sunsets, girl,
Yeah, but
stuff. So
even then, that takes work as a vocalist. It would, because Outlier, you know what I mean, with that kind of the metalcore vibes, and you got the highs and the lows, and then coming back over to do Joey Arena, it would take a lot of work. And I chatted to another metalcore singer the other day, and we were discussing the same thing about how it does take a lot of work as a vocalist with your technique as well to go from the highs, the lows, and then, you know, a project like, say, Joey Arena.
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, the vocal cord, any vocalist will tell you, obviously, the vocal cords, it's a muscle, man. And it's just like no other. You got to go to the gym with it. You got to warm up daily. Even if I'm not using it, you know, if I'm not at practice or I'm not in the studio, I try to still in the morning throw my warm-ups on, and then I try to do them later on at night, and just, again, try to grow as a vocalist. See, I'm actually stepping out from the game for a little bit early April. I got to get my tonsils removed. Yeah. So now I'm interested in what I'm going to sound like after that. I hear it's not going to really, there's like mixed reviews that may change my tone a little bit. Either way, I need to do it for a place of comfort as a vocalist. Yeah. Just because, you know, like I got to get them out anyways. But I'm excited though, because I'm hoping that it kind of frees me up a little bit, you know, in the esophagus and everything, and I can maybe I'll do some cool shit with it. Who knows? So
yeah, I think you'll be right. You seem like a really hard worker. I spoke to another vocalist who had throat surgery, and she ended up coming back all right from it. Couldn't quite hit those real fucking deep heavies that she was doing before, but her voice is still really fucking beautiful, man. So I think you'll be right.
Yeah, man. You know, it's the voice is such a different instrument, and being a guitar player as my forte, they're two different animals. I can't even compare them. I try to, like, you know, for those that have never dabbled in vocals, they just won't even understand. Honestly, it's not like stringing up your guitar, finding your, you know, tuning it. And it's not like that. It's a whole different animal, and it takes a lot of discipline, patience. And some people like me, I have to watch my diet. I can't really drink that much. I can't smoke. I'm not one of those type of vocalists. I wasn't given that easy handout of like, oh, just wake up and sing. Like, no, I have to work at my voice. But you know what? Again, I like challenges. It's just, I like seeing growth. That's it.
But that's the bulk majority of musicians. You got to work hard if you want to get anywhere in life too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's probably 99% are like that. And there's 1% that can go, oh yeah, I'm fucking great at this without even trying. So
Freddie Mercury. That's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. What are you going for next? Are you going to be working on an album or an EP, or can you say much? Are you allowed to say much?
As far as which project?
We'll keep going with Joey Arena. I do want to ask about Outlier though too. Well, I've got you.
Yeah. So as far as Arena goes, I have a couple songs. I'm going to be releasing singles right now. Just cool. I put dreams out there just to kind of feel it out, see how people would respond. I have a couple songs. I already have one in the chamber. My debut original single will be a song called Fever. I'm going to be shooting the music video for that one in a week or two. And then I will be hopefully dropping that one in about a month and a half, depending on how Dreams continues to work. You know, you kind of write out one single, and when you start seeing the slowest like decline, then you want to shoot the other one in. So we'll kind of feel it out right now. There's no release date, but we'll see. But I got to go back in the studio. Like I said, I'm in this week and next week, and I'm working on another single for that. And I think I'm just going to keep popping out singles for Arena for a moment until I find until something tells me otherwise for that. So
yeah. And Outlier, how's Outlier going? I think Who We Are was the last single from you guys, wasn't it? And tell me what's going on over there. I'm really keen to know, man.
So I had a conversation right before, and I'm going to be, so you're the first one to hear this. So we're going to be dropping, so we did a guest feature of Who We Are with my buddy, Ricky Armelino. He's the guitar player of Ice Nine Kills, and he's also the vocalist of Hawk. And they used to be This Would Be Apocalypse, for those that may remember them. So I've been wanting to put that version out. Ricky does his own spin on Who We Are. We wanted to put that out, and then we're going to be dropping our next single, Bulletproof. And Bulletproof, so we're going to be dishing out a lot of heavy tracks over the next few months for Outlier, and it's going to be our heavier stuff we've been sitting on. I like to think Outlier is a pretty hybrid band. We can, I want to be able to tour with bands like Slipknot and Korn, but I also want to be able to tour with I don't care if people laugh, man. I want to be able to tour with Creed and Nickelback. Honestly.
Yeah, dude.
And so like we have you know, we have some rock stuff that would sit in that. I mean, dude, we played you know, some shows with Saving Abel that were awesome, you know, sold out shows. They were great, and their audience, you know, responded to us, and that was awesome. And they're great dudes. And so I want to be able to tour with bands like that. And then I want to be able to tour with bands, like I said, Slipknot, you know, and heavy bands like that. So we have more than enough material written for like 2 full lengths that we're currently sitting on. But again, with COVID, it's like, you know, do you release? Do you not release? When should you release? Who knows? And like who we are, we probably should have waited to 2021 just because we released around the election, and that was just pure fucking chaos here. So that was,
man.
Yeah, man. So I kind of kicked myself in the ass for that, like approving that release date. But I'm like, you know what? That's whatever. It is what it is. It's a song it's a great song. And I think once we release the guest version, you know, I think people are going to go back to that original version and go, yeah, this isn't that bad. So
yeah, it kind of gives a little bit of a distraction as well. I suppose you're thinking, I just want to put some music out, give something fucking different than that whole process and madness that was going on at that time as well. You know, I spent a lot of 2020 buying records and merch, and that's the thing. Like I see you get lots of numbers on Spotify, but people, you also got to get them out of that. I suppose you bring singles because that's what people want to fucking digest. But I like buying music, and I don't want people to forget, like, buying music goes to supporting the bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, platforms like Bandcamp, and I know lots of people are banging on about Spotify. I even heard I think it was Bjorn from ABBA talking about, you know, that we need to change this musical streaming platform that artists that are getting listened. So I don't do the whole Spotify thing, but say if I was to pay a subscription to Spotify and I'm only really listening to Outlier, then the money I'm spending should kind of go over to the bands that I'm listening to, not these big fucking Cardi B's or whatever shit that I won't even listen to. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think, you know, a lot of people feel the same way, but they don't want to speak up because, of course, today's days, God forbid you speak your mind. You're, you know, you're labeled as this or that. And some label that has nothing to pertain to what you're saying. But I mean, I go back even to Napster days, man, like when, you know, Metallica was trying to fight, you know, against Napster and had more artists back them and literally put their foot down. I don't think, dude, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. I mean, as it is, artists were getting screwed back then. I don't know why artists were just sitting there and okaying and, you know, sure, you know, just allow people to have free music. You know, I'm all about like discounting and like, I understand, like nobody should be taking advantage of anything. But if people really like, I wish artists would really educate people on how much it costs to write a song. And I'm not talking just the emotional end of how much time you put effort, but like by the time that's, you know, you got writers, if you're trying to write a banger, you know, these bigger bands, especially, they got 7 writers on half of their songs, most of them. You know, you're sending it out to get mixed and mastered. It's got to get pressed. You got artwork. By the time you're doing all of that, whether it's DIY or not, I mean, dude, it's art. Art should not have a price on it, really. And I don't mean that in a free way. I mean, like, I love Bandcamp because you could do donations and stuff like that. I think that's a great thing. I mean, shit, man, even $1, you know, it helps. It definitely helps. And it adds up. But
every little bit helps the artist, because there's a whole lot of work behind the scenes as well. You know, with Outlier, you've got that going, you've got the arena project going. You know, you'd be spending countless hours behind the scene working, and it's not only your band. There's loads of bands doing it, and then to go, okay, and here you go, here's this for nothing. I've probably just had a broken relationship, my marriage is busted, but here, take my album. It's no worries, and don't worry, I won't even buy a beer from it. So I think people need to buy some music as well. It's great to listen to Spotify, get the listens up, but if you like an artist, go over and buy the bloody album, people. Buy Outlier's bloody singles, buy the albums coming up, you know what I mean? Buy this arena single when you can buy it, man.
People spend their money on stupid shit, I realize, man. Like,
$5
I mean,
for a coffee, man. $5 for a coffee. You fucking throw that shit away.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna use that analogy, because I literally, here I am, I got a Starbucks at the end of my street. Dude, I go down there, I'm so dumb. I spend $5.08 on my coffee, this freaking bit. For what? But you know what though? But I take that same mentality and I go, you know what? I am going to buy this record because I know it is supporting this artist. I mean, shit, man, I was still buying Blu-rays up until like, you know, until touring was kicking off. I was buying Blu-rays even for the road, you know what I'm saying? And like, I'll buy movies, even if I order them, like for, like on my Fire Stick, I'll like buy the movie or buy the entertainment. I want to buy it in some way because you got so many hands on deck that went into the production of a film or a record or something. And dude, art is like what makes the world go round. And I tell you one thing, this whole thing with COVID, I guarantee music and books and movies, they've been there for people through all these dark and depressing times more than anything else has. Yeah. And I guarantee everybody, how many people have turned to art during this time?
I know, and that's a common subject that's come up in a lot of my interviews through this COVID time about art and how art has been the number one thing that has got basically everyone through it, I suppose, unless you're a politician, because none of them give a fuck about the arts. But arts has been the one thing that has got through us, and I found it really sad that it didn't get as much support as it should have by the governments through that 2020. It felt really underappreciated for me, buying merch and supporting the scene. I know when I spend money and I go over and I spent over $100 on Bandcamp buying digital albums because it's the way I am the other day on the Bandcamp Friday. I know when I spend money doing that, it's going into supporting the scene, and I'm doing my little bit, you know, supporting bands as well. So fuck, we got to do it, man. We all got to do it, bro.
I appreciate you doing it, man. And I'm sure I speak for a million other musicians. That's cheers. Awesome.
Joey, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. I'm going to let you get about your day, dude. Everyone grab this Dreams cover, fucking put it in your stereo, turn up really loud. Keep your ears out because Outlier got some new music coming. I'm hoping to have a chat with you about all that when it drops too, Joey. This has been an absolute pleasure. Any last words, shout outs, thank yous you want to add in, mate?
Dude, I just honestly want to say thank you, man. I thank you for your platform. I thank you for getting stuff out there. Again, anybody that gives me or any other musicians the time of day just to kind of share what's going on in our world and what we have coming up, I think you are so important with, you know, making the musical wheel go around. So I appreciate you, man. Honestly, that's it.
Cheers, Joey. Absolute pleasure, mate. You have a lovely evening. Thank you very much.
You too. See ya.